Welcome to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Jake and Jake, and we want to talk about their journey on the National Apprenticeship Scheme. So Jake, you qualified back in May?
Yes.
First ever UK National Apprenticeship in bike mechanics. And Jake, you started a year later and are just going through the final preparations of your apprenticeship. So two completely different stages. I think this is going to be really useful for anyone who's considering this point in their life when they make that decision between university, apprenticeship and making those decisions. So I was quite keen to know, at that point when you saw the advert that we put out, you were probably at a transitional point in your lives. And what was the thing that said, actually, this has got my attention?
I guess I was always kind of going that way anyway. I was always pretty keen on the whole college and mechanics side of leaving school.
Of course, you were doing car apprenticeship.
I was. I was working just around the corner from here. And then, I'd done my first 2 years at college doing level 1 and 2 motor mechanics and moving on to level 3. And then my tutor at the time told me about this. And now, 2 years later, we're here.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. And how did you, you probably saw the job advert.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was a little bit opposite to Jake in that I went through, so I did my GCSEs and then I went through and did A-levels. And then I didn't really particularly want to go to university because I was pretty done with school and I wanted to do something different. And I knew I was really interested in bikes. I love riding them. I was interested in how they work and all that sort of stuff. So it was something different that genuinely interested me that I could get stuck into.
So you were at Cogset, weren't you? So Cogset is like a local cycling club, I guess, weren't you? And definitely passionate about bikes and I guess you were the same, the passion for bikes.
Yeah, it's always the only thing I've really ever done. So it was, the idea of it was very good when I heard about it.
Yeah. So in fact, just a little anecdote, you actually came and applied for the apprenticeship before it even got advertised.
Yeah.
Like your
someone told me,
your college lecturer literally told you there's an apprenticeship going, and before we'd even hit go on the advert, you would come around here, and I remember with grease on your face and and going, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Which is always inspiring as an employer to get that. I want to think about the first 3 months, if you can. So that's quite a long time ago for you now. And you're about a year ago, the first 3 months is that scary time when the learning curve is freaking mountain. Can you reflect on that?
I guess it was almost like it's quite a different learning curve, I feel like, wasn't it, for me, especially because I wasn't learning how to handle tools, because I feel that's what you do when you start mechanicking. You figure out how you use tools and stuff. I knew how to use tools, I just didn't know how to use tools on a bike. It was like relearning how to use tools, which is it's so much different because it's not just.
I guess you went from spanners you could hold in a fist to spanners you hold between your finger and your thumb almost. Yeah.
And stuff that you nip up to stuff that you just tight till it's tight. Yeah, it was a big change because I was going from cars to bikes. I think the learning curve was a bit weird. It was very strange. I think it was quite hard to.
And yours was probably quite different, Jake, because you hadn't really done much mechanicking before.
No, I held a hammer a couple of times in the garage, but other than that, it wasn't. I didn't do much. It was that was a big thing for me because I'd not really done much mechanically minded stuff. So it was definitely a case of learning how to use tools and when something feels right or something feels wrong and that sort of stuff. It's definitely a big learning curve for me.
Yeah, so it's quite a risk, if you like. You'd never experienced anything like being in a workshop or a garage or using tools. Obviously, you'd been brought up amongst that. So, how did you adjust?
I really enjoyed starting here actually. Because it was something I just wanted a change really. Because I was done. I wasn't interested in academic stuff anymore. Writing essays and things like that.
Yeah,
it was really nice to come in and have a completely different environment where it's you're constantly engaged, you're on your feet, you're using your hands, and you're always doing something that's actually requires you to think about it and work out how to go through a process rather than just copying something out on paper. I really enjoyed that sort of. And
so, a question for both of you: was there any point in that first 3 months when you thought, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Yeah.
Really?
No, because of where I came from, but.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, working in a garage is quite a lot.
Okay.
Quite a lot different.
And you'll be I've made a good decision here.
Yeah, because it was this is nice. This is chill. It's not it was. I really enjoyed the first.
So what was your doubt, Jake?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I've been here for a couple of months or so, And I just felt like I was starting to get the hang of things. Like I was going through stuff and I kind of do stuff by myself. And I remember I just came in one week and I felt like I knew absolutely nothing whatsoever. It was like I'd gone back to like zero. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, what am I doing? But then it's, it comes back around and, it's just like little phases of stuff like that. But it was, I got back on top of it and it's all going all right.
It's a steep learning curve. I do actually remember there's quite a comedy moment with you at the work stand when I think I asked you a question and you quite rightly just said, I don't know, my brain stopped working, I need to go and do something different for a few minutes. And that honest response was so good for me to hear, to get, that's cool, go in.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've had that environment where you can do that. It is pretty hard. So what was the hardest thing? What was probably, if you could think, oh my God, that was the thing I really just couldn't get my head around. What was...
For me, it's definitely wheel building. I'm starting to come around on it now, but it's taken me a good year's worth of time to fully understand what's going on and fully understand the processes and why I'm doing things and getting it right, rather than just, oh, this is the method that I think I'm doing, I just need to put it together and then it'll be fine sort of thing. It's really, because it's just, I just find that so complicated.
It's a weird mix of science and art, isn't it? Wheel building. And I guess that school doesn't really prepare you for that sort of thing so well. What about you, Jake?
Looking up technical documentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that.
Again, going back to car mechanics, you don't really look stuff up. You just...
Oh, really?
No. I can't recall looking something up.
Okay.
You just kind of explained how you do something, because I feel like there's a lot more trial and error with that.
All right.
I feel like it's like you can afford to take a bolt out or loosen a bolt and then tighten it back up. It's not gonna. The chances, it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot harder to break something.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if I'm right here, but I guess in car mechanics is either part fits or it doesn't fit. But I think with bike mechanics, things can fit, but they might not align, or they might not align to the point where they work perfectly.
Yeah, and like things like brakes rubbing and things like that. Like all brakes rub on a car realistically, like most of the time.
Yeah, you just can't hear them, turn the radio up.
Yeah, well, it's not, because they make such little noise that it's, even when you spin them, when it's on like a lift, it's like, there's an engine driving it. There's not, you don't have that same like detail. I think that's the main thing, the detail between the two different things.
Yeah. What have you think about customer expectations? Do you think customer expectations are a bit different as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think people that ride bikes, especially road bikes, it's a lot more like if someone's brakes rubbing, it will come back. There's like unless someone
in the workshop here.
It will come back 100%. Like if it's gone out and there's the littlest thing, the littlest noise, it will come back. If there's a little chain noise. Whereas I feel like with cars, you never really see them back unless it's making a horrific noise.
That really leads me on to a really fantastic question, actually. Can you remember the first time when a customer came back and said, something's not right? And like...
Probably not. Mine was a Carrera hardtail and it was black and green. And I think I'd routed the gear cable the wrong way or something, and it just looked... I was going to say a naughty word there, but I'm not going to say that because it's on the podcast. It looked terrible, and I can't. There might have been something else wrong with it as well, but I specifically remember that. So I'd like routed the cable wrong or something. It wasn't working quite right, and that was
And it's strange actually, because both me and Dave at the moment that were checking your work, I don't know how that slipped through, but I remember you handled that so well. It was, can you remember your first time?
Not first. I remember the cube. The cube's probably the one that everyone remembers. Yeah. I feel like the cube was the one that... I think that's the first time I properly rang the customer back and explained what had happened, explained how we were going to fix it, and
that was a powerful learning moment.
That was.
That was the okay, I'm not at school anymore. This is serious, and
And having to. I think that was the first time I had to definitely the first time I had to contact someone and say look, I did this, it wasn't right. Yeah,
to anyone thinking what it is, we're not going to go too much detail, but it was only cosmetic damage that was really unfortunate accident. Yeah. And it could have been avoided. It wasn't anything dangerous.
No, it was just...
it was definitely not what we aspired to, though.
Mistake by me and bad engineering by Cube.
And it got quite rusty as well, and there was lots of things to that.
It's not a good design, but...
Yeah. So what came naturally then? What was the thing that's just clicked?
I think for me, I really enjoy like interacting with customers and stuff, and like customer service and that sort of stuff. Like when someone walks through the door, it's just really nice to like be like, oh, how's your day going? What's up with your bike? Have you have a bit of a conversation with them and just get to know them a bit better than just, what's up with your bike, and then wave them off back through the door. I think it's really nice to have a sort of actual connection with someone that's coming through the door, because as well then is when you're working on it, you're a bit more invested in it as well. Whereas if it's just a bike, it's like, you've got a reason to do all these things properly and do it right for that person.
Yeah, we should say actually that at MapDeck, anyone that brings a bike in, you get greeted by one of us, and we'll take all the details from your bike, and then when you come and pay your bill, you'll get a rundown of what work we did as well. So it's an end-to-end service with the mechanic. There's no like front of house situation anymore. You know quite a lot of our customers by first name. They know you by first name. Yeah, which is is that intimidating or comforting?
No, I think it's cool.
Yeah,
I think it's it's quite a cool thing, especially when if you're just out and about and you see someone that brings their bike, and you can it's quite cool to know that.
I guess it's good that you're proud that you've done a good job for them, right? You don't have to be shy that you've done it. Anything. Yeah. That's that in a small town like this.
It's not. It's not like some mechanic at this garage is like just not, or at this spot. It's I think that's a
really healthy attitude, I think. And Jake, what came naturally to you? What was the thing that just went, oh yeah, I've got this. This is.
I was gonna say wheel building. I think, and I don't know why. I don't know what I find so interesting about it, but I feel like I could build wheels all day. It's just something.
You're very naturally, you can visualise all the different dimensions, which is quite a rare talent actually, is to be able to like visualise lots of different, like if I adjust that's going to affect that, and think ahead. So you built some good wheels. I mean, your wheels, your personal wheels.
Yes, they're still going strong. To be honest, the hub's giving out faster than the actual wheel is, which is
more to
quite
the point,
impressive.
You've managed to bend a set of XT cranks faster than you've managed to bend your wheels, which I think is
set of Saints, set of XTs, snap a set of Unites. 3 sets of cranks, 1 set of wheels. Still going strong.
It's pretty amazing. So to finish off, then, if anyone out there is considering taking on a national apprenticeship or joining an apprenticeship at a bike shop, what could you say to them that might help them make a decision?
I would say the number one thing you need to have is patience, because it's not easy at all. You might think, there's only like 2 things I need to work on a bike, gears and brakes, and it's fine, but it's not easy at all, and it will be hard, but it's very much rewarding. And if you're interested in bikes and riding bikes and working on bikes, it's definitely worth doing. I'd say the number one thing you want is patience, because it is hard, and it will be hard.
Oh, totally, yeah. Internal cable routing, suspension work, bleeding brakes. It's just like patience. What about you? If you were to...
But I think going into apprenticeship's just a great thing all over, especially getting that interacting with people, not just being, again, like you kind of go... I mean, I guess uni, you go and interact with people, but it's
definitely not the same.
No, it's the way that's it. You're not like got an expectation from a customer or something like that. Or you're not like you're not doing a work for someone. So no one's paying for your work yet.
It's a good point actually. Justifying your bill to someone and saying this is all the work that I've done to you, and here's how much it's worth. And standing there and said, I've done this work and it's worth this much. I think that's definitely something that you miss, I think, at university, is that whole...
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, I'd say, is that.
So just very quickly, just finish up the assessment process. Jake, you've obviously gone through the assessment process a little while ago now, and you're like just geared up towards that. So the assessment process, if I get this right, is you have to completely strip and rebuild a bike and identify faults that the examiners put in there as well, which is pretty standard. If you were to do your... SciTech level 2, you'd be expected to do that, but without a time limit. What's the time limit in the assessment? It's like 2.5 hours.
I think it was 2.5 hours past 2 hours distinction.
Yeah. That's rapid, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 hours is quick. If you're doing it under 2 hours, it's...
Yeah, that's fast work. And then there's the wheel build.
Yeah.
90 minutes for a wheel build, 60 minutes for a distinction.
Yeah. I think it was under 90 minutes for a distinction and under 2 hours for a pass.
And built to 0.2 of a millimetre. So
which is absolutely insane.
That's all good. And then a verbal exam as well, when they question you.
There was the being questioned by someone answering questions as well.
And you're not allowed any visual aids, are you?
No.
It's just you and the computer screen. You can't have like a break in front of you just to remind you of something. It's all like completely from memory, isn't it?
It's almost like doing your theory test for your car or something. It's literally, that's what it reminded me of. Yeah,
and there's something. An interview as well. Was there just a
there was an
interview?
an interview to ask. I did like a questioned interview and then the multiple choice.
Yep, it's a tough assessment. I think it's the questions in that are hard, especially when you haven't got any open books. Like in the workshop, you'll have a thing in front of you. You'll have a derailleur and something you can refer back, but. To try and remember every single step. How are you feeling about your assessment coming up, Jake?
I feel alright actually, because it's what's good about it is it's just the same as what you do every day in the workshop, where it's like it's not like I need to revise how to like strip and rebuild a bike, because it's just exactly what you do every day. So it's like I'm fairly chill about it.
I think that's a great sign that you're ready when you go into it thinking, it's just another day at work. That's the sign. Brilliant. Cool. So have you guys got any questions for me?
I know we've talked about this before, but like, why would you want an apprentice instead of someone who's already trained? Because I know we've gone over this before, but for the people watching at home, it's
really interesting actually. So one, there's actually a personal gratification out of it. I actually, honestly, really proud to have given you both an opportunity to come and learn a skill. That is definitely a high motivator. The other is when you're in a small community like this, you probably know most of the mechanics in the area. And actually, I think there's some real benefit to training someone to say, this is how we do things, because the other bike shops in the area, there's some good mechanics there, but they work differently to us. We are service only. So, and I think we've, I think that's why I think it's worked out pretty well so far. What about you, Jake?
I was just gonna almost repeat the question that you asked us about, like, what was it like for the first 3 months of obviously having me here, because it was like first apprentice. So like what was your outlook on the first 3 months of your first?
Oh, terrifying! Terrifying. I've made a commitment to someone. I will need to pay their wages, and have all the insurance. And it's not like having someone who's already got wherewithal of health and safety and dealing with chemicals. It's like I guess it's like being a parent, I suppose, almost. It's like, don't put that there. Like it's quite autocratic.
Don't drink the acetone.
It feels like you're having to watch every single movement for probably the first 3 months, and I guess the stress levels slowly subside. And I guess you're probably experiencing that with our latest apprentice who's not here. It's not here today. It's not fair. He's only just started.
Yeah.
And probably get a hint of what that's like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It was terrifying to. I think there's an awful lot of prejudice that came with that, which is completely unfounded in reality. And if any employers out there watching, my perception of young people, and you learn super quick. And we never had a problem. No. It was more in my mind than it was a reality, I think. So yeah. Cool. I think that's enough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that interesting, whether you're thinking about taking on an apprentice or not. And if you've got any questions, please put them down in the comments. We'll try and answer them the best we can. Thanks for watching. Cheers.